Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I managed to transform my body from looking like this to looking like that in a space of 8 weeks. Now, from my experience, I have failed with fat loss before in the past because of 4 common reasons. Number 1, it's terribly confusing. Number 2, it's expensive. Number 3, it requires a lot of effort and sacrifice. And number 4, and this is the big one, I give up because I don't see progress even though I am making progress. So in this video, I'm going to lay out my 4-step system of how I managed to transform my body in a more sustainable and less confusing way. And hopefully this is going to help you guys as well. We're going to break this down into 4 different sections. Section 1 is going to be identify the problem. Section 2, get more active. Section 3 is count your calories. And finally, section 4 is to make small progress as you go about your journey. Section 1 is identify the problem. Really identify why you find that you have gained weight. For me, this was because of the Christmas period. Over that period, I went home and I enjoyed some time with my family, and all that I ate in that period of time was just processed foods, cookies, cakes, ice cream, sweets, all the goodies that I love to enjoy. But of course, over this period, I overindulged in these products. So when I came back, I sat down and I wrote down everything that I ate over the December period, and I found that most of what I was eating was foods that quote unquote unhealthy and not good for me, which is why I gained weight. Now, I don't know if this stat is correct, but I once heard that 80% of what we eat all the time. So for me, 80% of what I was eating in that period was just processed foods that were making me gain weight. So by identifying the problem, it made it easier for me to see the things that I should have been eating and things that I shouldn't have been eating. So it was easy to replace foods that I wasn't supposed to be eating. For anyone who is struggling with weight loss, the problem that you might find is that you actually haven't identified the problem. Sit down and write everything that you eat. That's all that you have to do. Just write everything that you eat, and you'll find most of the time that the foods that you are eating, number 1, you are eating them consistently, and number 2, they're probably the reason why you seem to be gaining weight. When you identify the problem, it is easier to find the solution. Section 2 is get more active. At this point in my transformation, I started to realize that the weight was coming down, my stomach was a lot flatter, and I started to see lines, as in I started to see some abs. So obviously I was getting excited. What is it that I did? I did 2 things. Number 1, I did a lot of home workouts. I was doing at least 2 10 to 20 minute home workouts every day. If you want those, I'll link them in the description so you can watch and follow along. And then number 2, which was the easiest thing for me to do, was to get my step count up. So on average, I was averaging about 10,000 steps a day. I was aiming for at least 10 to 12,000 every day. And how I did this, every hour for 15 minutes in the hour, I would walk around my complex as I'm doing now. This is easy, it's not challenging. There's nothing that I'm actually doing that is challenging at this moment. I'm just walking around for 15 minutes. If you do this every 15 minutes of an hour, you find that you can get to 10,000 easily. I would say start off with the aim of getting to 8,000 if you're someone who's inactive. But if you're someone like me who works from home, or you also have an office job, then this is definitely the easiest way to do cardio and get your steps in. If you work at an office, just walk around your complex. If you go to the mall, instead of taking the escalators or the elevator, just take the steps. It's really that simple. It's not complicated. It's just taking steps and getting more active. Section 3 is probably the most confusing for most people. It certainly was the most confusing for me, and that is count your calories. Now, this is a confusing subject for most people, and I understand why. Should you be counting your calories? I think there are 2 kinds of people that should be. Number 1, if you want to get extremely lean, you want to see your 6-pack, or you want to see veins on your muscles, then you probably should be counting your calories, right? That's the first individual. Second individual, if you are morbidly obese, you're very much overweight and your health is a concern to you, then you should have an idea of your calories as well. But if you're someone in the middle like me, you don't really care too much about being ultra ripped, but also you're not too overweight, then I wouldn't stress too much about counting your calories. What I can tell you that works is that as soon as you start eating clean food, that is when you're gonna actually start seeing progress. What are clean foods? In my opinion, clean foods are whole foods. Anything that you pick up from the ground or anything that comes from an animal, I'm sorry vegans, are clean foods. So for me, that's chicken. Chicken breast, chicken thighs, that is meats such as lean ground beef, fish, tuna fish, all of those are clean proteins, including whey protein. My carbs, keep them very much simple. Rice, sweet potatoes, sometimes white potatoes, not a big fan of that, and just green vegetables. Those are clean foods for me. Oh, I forgot to add eggs as well. Those are clean foods for me. But this does not mean that this is what you should be eating. What you should be eating is something that you can eat every day, you enjoy it, and you see yourself eating this until the day that you die. That is a sustainable diet. I have realized in the past that I have gone through such strict diets, such as, for example, a keto diet. I have followed a keto diet, and even though I have seen results, I have felt miserable. Why? Because I love carbs. And to take out carbs from my life, it's just gonna make me miserable. Therefore, I did not follow a keto diet. And when I did, I failed and rebounded and put on the weight and put even more on. So I was back to square one. For anyone who is struggling right now to lose weight, do not confuse yourself with calories, right? If you do not understand them, then maybe try and understand them, but don't stress too much about calories, about macros, or any of those things. You will find that as soon as you start eating clean, you're gonna feel lighter, your body's gonna feel fresher, you're gonna feel more energy, and your weight is going to drop. So limit the processed foods. That doesn't mean eliminate them, but that just means limit them. So for me, I follow a 90-10 rule. That rule is 90% of the foods that I have are foods that are natural, they're clean, I enjoy having them, and they actually help me progress towards my goal. But the 10%, anything. I can have whatever it is that I like as long as I do not overindulge. I have a problem with that, but I try my best to not overindulge in foods that I know are going to be detrimental towards my progress. And finally, section number 4 is be kind to yourself and track your progress. I have, as a personal trainer, made the mistake of expecting my clients to lose weight my way instead of understanding the actual process and what they are going through. If anyone tells you that weight loss or fat loss is an easy process, is either lying to you and they're just trying to make themselves sound good, or they've probably never lost weight in their lives. Weight loss is a very difficult process, more so psychologically than physically. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes sacrifice. However, be kind to yourself, have small wins, and when you get to achieve those small wins, pat yourself on the back. You've done well. Don't be discouraged when you don't see results every day or every week. Sometimes those results, either on the scale or on the measuring tape, are just figures. How you feel is most important. If you feel that you are getting lighter, if you feel that you are getting more energy, if your clothes are feeling looser on you, then that's a small win. Pat yourself on the back and just continue going and continue going. Focus on your goal. And then one day you wake up and you realize, hey, I've actually reached my goal. Look, I can see some abs. Or hey, look, my stomach is flat. Or look, my legs have gone down and my shape is so much better than it was before. That's all that it's about. I think most of the time we are too hard on ourselves. We push ourselves so much in an unsustainable way that we end up hitting a brick wall. It takes time. Some people can do it in 4 weeks, some people can do it in 2, some people can do it in 8 months, and some people it will take them years. But it takes time. And I'm sure all of you guys know this. Honestly, all you have to do is really get up, start moving, stay consistent, be motivated, and be determined to actually achieve your goal. And hopefully one day you reach your goal. And I hope that this video was so helpful to you guys. If you enjoyed it, please catch one of these other videos that I've posted in the past. Like, share, subscribe, and thank you so much. I'll see you guys on the next one.